Hello, my name is John Barley from Rite New Zealand Limited. Today we're talking to an old friend and acquaintance and a business associate of mine by the name of Virin Gomber. Virin specializes in mindfulness, and I've known Virin for approximately, what must be 10 years, Virin, I would think, yeah. And we actually created our friendship and connection through a brief discussion in a hotel. And I said to him, okay, I believe that quantum physics has an awful lot to do with being mindful. And then we decided just recently to have this podcast discussion and introduce people to the subject of mindfulness. And I looked through his CV and it shows that he's got a master's in quantum physics. So that sort of blew me away. But let's just go through Virin's background and what he's actually up to. Firstly, and I'm going to have to put on my glasses for this because I can't read the small print. So Virin is a mindfulness success coach, and he helps people become top achievers. But not only that, he's also an author of a book called The Missing Piece in Self-Love. So I'd love to be able to read that sometime. He says here, with more than a decade of success coaching and 25 years in mindfulness experience, coaching groups, training corporates, and self-practice, he has mastered a set of strategies to craft his mindfulness success system. His work is with entrepreneurs, professionals, and driven individuals to achieve next level success, happiness, and balance. He has a blend of mindfulness, smart strategic planning, and neuroscience. He has a master's in quantum physics, interior design, marketing, public relations, journalism, and neuro-linguistic programming. I am fascinated as to why you have done interior design, but that's cool. So Virin, welcome, and I hope that we can shed some light on people's challenges today and help them move past those barriers that are holding them back. Yeah, so let's start off with the with some questions here. What is your greatest value in life, Virin?
First of all, thank you, John, for inviting me to your podcast. And it's a pleasure, actually, knowing you. It's been a pleasure knowing you for the last almost 10 years, as you mentioned. And I've always been fascinated with the kind of work you do yourself in Right Track and how you are evolving currently in this space as well. So thank you so much. And I'll actually definitely love to share why I did interior design. That's something that fascinates me anyways. But yeah, to answer your first question, what's my greatest value in life? My greatest value in life is service to others. So it's about I mean, we have lots of values in life that drive us towards where we want to be every single day. And but at the same time, there's always one value that kind of really stays at the top usually, or is the undercurrent of everything that you do. It underpins everything that you do in life. And for me, it's service to others, as I said. So it's about building, actually consistently building my capability and capacity to serve the people who benefit from my core services. And that's what I've been striving to do over the years since I came into the coaching and training space. And that was almost about 10 years ago, around the time when we met. So that's the top on the list for me, serving others.
And there's a term out there which is, what is your big, hairy, audacious goal in life? What is your total vision? And one of my questions to you is, what is your greatest goal in life?
Absolutely, very important, and that's something I keep revisiting every year, which is actually keep refining my vision. So the greatest goal to me is actually our life vision, the main purpose of our life, if we talk about it. I mean, technically speaking, goals are something that we kind of create every day. We could have daily goals, we could have weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly goals, but when you talk about the big, hairy, audacious goal, which becomes your life vision, for me, it's actually transforming global consciousness and actually being a vehicle, a facilitator for it, through whatever work I do, and not just in my professional life, but in my personal life as well. So whatever I do every single day, with my own capability, my own learning, and also sharing with others, that's what I aim to use it for, transforming global consciousness to a higher level.
And I would say to you, Virin, that it's becoming a very, very big subject these days. And I've just attended a business seminar, a course on creating your values, understanding the passion of your world and of your business. And one of the questions was, what is your big, hairy, audacious goal? What is your big picture? Because it's that vision that is so much connected to your values, because it's your values that actually gives you the passion, the resilience, the determination, and the ambition to keep on going when everything else seems to fall apart around you.
And you're so right. You put it rightly, John, because that's what we've witnessed as humanity in the last almost about 12 months, how things are kind of, in a way, obviously on the surface as well, but underneath, seems like things are falling apart. But what's currently running the world is our values, actually, our love for each other, our vision to actually be able to support each other and actually rise above this as a civilization.
Okay. And we're going to now move on to the subject of quantum physics. And I'm going to use this term breakthrough, and getting through to the other side. And one of the things that fascinates me is that, and you're going to correct me, I know, but this is the way that I see it. Energy can actually pass through a solid object. It doesn't have to go around it, doesn't have to go under it, doesn't have to go over it. It can actually go through it. But the thing that really I thought was really cool was that they used the term, when you take the heat out of the energy out of the ions, as an IONS, when you take the heat out of it, it drops down and then it can go through. And they use the word chill. And I thought, that is so cool, excuse the pun, because it's actually, I remember in the 60s and 70s, and maybe the 80s, people say, oh, chill out, man, be cool. Well, that actually puts so much value in that term, because it's actually saying, be mindful, chill out, use the energy, and you can get through this and you can break through to the other side. So let's talk about that and how it applies to the world of mindfulness and how it applies to our everyday life.
Brilliant question, John. And essentially, just to quickly go back to how you started this this discussion around quantum physics, that energy can go around or through actually solid objects. So quantum physics says that actually solid objects are not solid objects; they are energy themselves. So it's just that.
Could you just say that? Could you just say that a little bit slower?
Okay, sure. So solid objects are not solid objects; they are actually energy as well. So what happens is everything is energy, whether it's seemingly things like that seem to us solid or liquid or airy, they're all energy. So in solid objects, what happens is the energy is more dense, so it feels solid, seems solid. But otherwise, it's energy. And in liquids, for example, it's slightly looser in terms of its existence, and that's why it's fluid. And then we feel things can go through liquids much easier than as compared to solid objects. But everything is energy. So that's one thing. And obviously now science is kind of, I mean, if you talk about it, ancient wisdom has told us this for thousands of years, but now science is catching up on this concept, which is very fascinating. And quantum physics actually does a beautiful job of it. So if you think about it, when we talk about mindfulness, when we talk about our minds, our thoughts, and all of that, and we talk about solid objects. If we think that our body is a solid object, our brain is a solid object, and I have to think logically about something because that's how things work out in the material world, right? But what's happening is actually our consciousness, which is energy, is driving everything. So the relation between quantum physics and the brain functions, actually the higher brain functions, which is the consciousness, it's actually in recent years a top subject of deep discussion from a scientific perspective, from a philosophical and even psychological point of view. And one of the very valuable concepts is the phenomenon of entanglement, which is that two or more objects can be highly correlated, even if they are separated by great distance. And the behavior of one of them instantly influences the behavior of the other. Which is like, for example, if we just, very, very quickly consider this particular conversation that we're having, you are actually miles away from where I am right now. But if I actually smile, that reaches you and you instantly can smile as well, right? So even though we're not very close to each other, physically speaking, there you go. I like that smile. So a key question that's usually asked in this context is, can our thoughts change the course of events and change our reality? And quantum mechanics opens the door to the primary role of mind, and how we should not only look at the visible reality, which is in front of us, but there's much more than that. So it actually offers us really great evidence that apparently solid material stuff, including our human bodies, actually just clusters of wave patterns in a field of cosmic energy. And cosmic energy field, that's also the field of universal consciousness. Slightly deeper, kind of really feels like intense topic, but it's actually very, very simple. It's very straightforward if we put our mind to it. So if we can change, if we can make a change and a shift at the level of our brain and the body using mindfulness techniques, for example, it impacts on our emotional, mental, and in turn physical well-being as well. And that's where quantum physics and mindfulness come together.
And yeah, because one of the things that I have become very conscious of is that we have this thing called limiting beliefs. Yeah. And we can't see it, but we have this subconscious action going on, so that when we use words, we immediately negate the action that we want to take to go forward because of these subconscious limiting beliefs. But one of the things that I've recognized is that if you consider limiting beliefs to be the equivalent of the sound barrier, for example, we can't see the sound barrier, and the only time we know that it exists is when a jet breaks through that sound barrier and you can actually see it. But the interesting thing is that before that jet goes through that sound barrier, there is an awful lot of disruption and turbulence that the pilot needs to know how to negotiate through to break through. And so it comes down again to this element of quantum physics having a huge impact on I suppose, the relationship that we have with our mind, but also the relationship that we have with our reality, and also how can we break through by having an understanding of quantum physics.
Very well said, and that's another great example of that breakthrough at the energetic level. Thank you for sharing that.
So what you do, can you actually briefly describe from what you do, how you help people deal with that turbulence and disruption so that they can break through?
Yes, it's actually done at two levels, obviously. Again, at the level of visible reality, and then at the level of that invisible reality that we just talked about, which is at the consciousness level, at the energetic level. Because we exist, our existence is actually at both the levels at the same time. And both of them kind of have an interplay, they impact each other all the time. So if I start to think, for example, someone's really been rude to me, they've hurt me by the words they used, or they actually they were angry towards me for no reason. That's the visible reality, for example. And then I can go back and I can start to make up stories in my mind around, okay, how they did that 5 years ago as well, and how they do it to others and all of that. And then suddenly the level of story goes up to a level where I start to feel, I start to actually feel resentment towards this person, for example. But a lot of that is happening inside me, right? That person just probably said 2 words, or the way they spoke was just rude. But my mind is focused on that part only because in the moment that really gave me that turbulence inside my mind, right? So I have to at that level be ready to actually break through that turbulence, so I don't let it affect me. So if that pilot really let that turbulence affect the existence of that aircraft, where would that go? They can't actually break through some of those barriers, right? That's what we want to do at the level of our mind. So essentially, how this works is usually there's you have to really think about it from a personal perspective. We talk about business, we talk about work, but every problem that exists in business or work is actually a problem that exists in our personal life. It's not a business problem, by the way. Most people think I have to just focus on my business and fix this, and everything be all right. But actually, they have to fix things in their personal life, inside their subconscious, before they can actually see that reality happening in their work life. So what how it works out is actually when I'm working with clients, it's usually starting with digging deeper into where they're coming from their inner perspective, inner mindset, and what's happening, what they've been carrying, all those limiting beliefs that you talked about, the emotional challenges they've been through, because that's not visible, but that's happening inside our mind, that's holding us back from a number of things. And we are creating that hurt, that pain, that blockage every single day in whatever we are doing. So that's where it all starts, actually, unpacking some of those things, resolving some of those things, and actually being able to be okay with what has happened. So which is what we call acceptance in mindfulness. It's a very powerful concept. Without acceptance, you can't move forward. It's just a little example. But then also that's only one part of it, which is actually working on your inner mind, doing some mindfulness meditations, being able to calm down quickly, resolving stress, reducing stress. Again, stress is one kind of energy, and being able to process some of the difficult emotions on a daily basis, so they don't hold us back. So that's one part of it, which is more of a ritualistic part. But then there's other part, which is like the behavioral part, which is actually throughout the day when we are interacting with people, when we actually doing practical stuff, reality stuff for that matter. We go into meetings, we're going into we emailing people, we having conversations with as a trainer, for example, if I'm delivering to people, I'm training people, having workshops, and you yourself having a business meeting, for example, we actually, that at the behavioral level there, where we need to practice some of those mindfulness strategies, being aware, our self-awareness, our sense of focus, our attention, and our attitude, which is very, very powerful part of mindfulness. And then based on all that, taking mindful action every time that we have to respond to a particular situation. And so both these things actually contribute to realizing and achieving our goals that we want to achieve, whether it's in a personal life or professional life. Hope that answered your question.
And on that particular note and flow, tell us about that businessman that you helped have that breakthrough.
Yeah, so we've discussed that before, John. Obviously, this person, it's been also, I think, 4 or 5 years since this person been working with me, and so this actually they just met me at a particular event where we were part of a panel and discussion panel, and then they actually became friends, and turned out they were an executive leadership coach. And then in our conversations, they found out what I was doing, and they instantly said, "Oh, Virin, what's that program that you do?" This is what I do. I shared with them all the details, and he said, "Oh, can I sign up?" So I was actually blown away, because within 20 minutes of our discussion, and I wasn't kind of trying to sell myself or something. It was just a discussion happening, and then so we worked together for a while. It turned out that they were doing well in terms of their business, but they had so many roadblocks. They felt that that there was some invisible blockages that were blocking them from moving forward. They were working really hard, a very talented, very intelligent person, and working with some corporate organizations here in New Zealand, and so they were actually a bit confused, in a confused state of what was going wrong, why they were not able to make that level of progress. That the level of their progress wasn't aligned with the level of effort they were making and input that was going to their business. So we worked together for a while, for almost about a year before we finished that association, that programming, the coaching association. Then within 3 to 4 months of our work together, they started to see the disentanglement happening of all the confused emotions that we were carrying. And so it turned out there was a lot of holding back of some of the emotions from the past, and actually, because they had moved countries recently, there was another sort of level of challenge for them that they were navigating their way through. But all in all, it worked out that because, I mean, as I said, they were themselves coaching others, right? Leadership coaching, but for themselves, they were actually just feeling so stuck within, right? So there was kind of a little gap in terms of their internal reality was their external reality, and that's what I was able to help them with in terms of bridging that gap. And towards the end, the testimonial they gave me was that as a result of that, as a result of that working with me, they had the best year ever in their business. So it's very rewarding when we can achieve that kind of result with the people I work with.
So how did you manage to make him chill out and and not panic and become isolated in his stress?
Yeah, so it's another it's actually going deeper into, as I said, some parts of what we're already doing. I mean, I can say to you, if I ask you, you know, hi John, how are you doing today? And you'll be like, yeah, not bad, or I'm doing okay. But then if I ask you next question, really, are you doing okay? Then you start to open up, maybe, okay, maybe no, this thing is not working, that's not working out, and all of that. So it's actually something we don't have to wait for others to ask us that question. We can ask that question to ourselves. Am I actually feeling okay about this? And what I need to actually resolve about this? How do I to process this particular information that I'm already processing? Can I process it slightly differently so I can get a different result? So it's actually just putting on a different lens around it. And usually when people are stressed, when people are anxious, fearful, worried, they can't take clear decisions because that actually masks the clarity, all that energy of stress and anxiety. So what we need to do is we need to calm down our thoughts first, and then actually start thinking and finding solutions. And solutions are usually within us.
Yeah, you'll probably know, I read just the other day, and you'll probably know the name of the individual that created calculus, in that the person who designed calculus to work out a problem that he had. So we look at calculus and say that is the problem. He actually used calculus to work out his problem. So, and I think that's where you're coming from, is saying it's don't look at the problem, look at what is causing the problem. What is the root cause? And also understand, and a real big emphasis on understanding the symptoms and the signals that are around you in your life to see that root cause and then deal with it. Would that be the right way of looking at things?
Yeah, absolutely. That's really one big part of it. And even we to actually have that capability to be able to see that clearly, there's some pre-work to be done, right? And that's something where we need someone's help, right? Okay, if I'm unable to be clear about why my life is in a mess, for example, and I think I'm doing all the right things, I'm on the right track, but at the same time, that's my perspective, that's my capability right now. I can't see beyond what's happening in front of me. So there's something that I need to do to actually get more clarity around why I'm here where I am right now, so I can change things. So I say that clarity is very, very important. By having that clarity about things,
Yeah.
which we call, in terms of mindfulness, we talk about self-awareness, and it's actually usually the missing piece in finding any right solutions.
So in your world, what is your daily practice for mindfulness to help you be so calm and collected at the end of every day and just download all the rubbish that people give you? No, it's not rubbish, it's but they download their stress, their anxiety onto you when you talk to them. So how do you practice your mindfulness to overcome those particular issues?
Yeah, really good one, John, because it happens to all of us around us when we're interacting with people, whether it's in our family, relationships, friends, colleagues, or co-workers or clients. And we come across people who are, with all the best intentions, probably they're trying to do their best, but we still tend to absorb some of their anxious energy, fearful energy, stressful energy. But we have to actually try and build a firewall around us that, despite staying connected with them, it doesn't impact us. So to actually achieve this, I've been following a mindfulness routine at 2 levels, which I referred to earlier, which is one of them is actually at the ritualistic level, following a routine, a ritual, a morning and evening ritual for that matter, and then at the operational level, which is at the behavior level, which I have to follow throughout the day. So my early morning routine usually includes mindfulness meditation, mindfulness visualization, it's creative visualization, and then focus activation, so I can become more focused for the day. And throughout the day, I keep recharging my mind using an early reminder. I have got an alert set up on my phone. So my goal is to, for example, my goal is to work for 59 minutes of every hour, and then spend 1 minute doing a quick reflection and recalibration of my inner state, and then use that 1 minute to recharge my emotional battery with a set of mindful affirmations. And at the operational level, I consistently practice and apply the mindfulness principles of openness, of curiosity, kindness not just towards others, kindness towards me as well, and non-judgment in all my actions and interactions throughout the day. And I usually finish my day with another round of 10 to 15 minutes of mindfulness meditation before bed. So all of this actually keeps me in my peak state of thinking and performance, and keeps me charged. It's very similar to, if I give you an analogy, is actually when we leave home in the morning for our work, if we actually are not working from home, the realities become different these days, but still in the morning we charge our phone. So because our phone is one example, one device that keeps us connected, helps us in our business and our work. But if you don't fully charge it in the morning, and middle of the day just loses charge, then you can't actually then start to freak out and then get stressed about it. So essentially, that charging of your technical device keeps you going. But at the same time, we don't spend enough time to charge our inner device, inner batteries. And that's something we need to do throughout the day. So when you lose charge, on the phone during the day, then what do? You plug it in again, you charge it again. And that's what we want to do with our emotional battery as well.
With with mindfulness, I believe that it's going to have a huge impact, and it does have a huge impact on the health and total well-being of people within a business. But it's also, does it need to be a necessary tool and element within the realms of health and safety at work? And what are the benefits?
Yeah, really good one. Essentially, because in terms of business, if you talk about business work of any kind, there is a range of risks involved, including physical risks, psychological risks, and then financial risks. So there's a whole range of risks involved, right? And for example, I've been doing some work with local government organization that does some compliance work, and there's a lot of health and safety issues because it does involve compliance and dealing with members of the public and for its staff. So essentially, there is risks at many levels. So that's something we have to look for in terms of the safety aspect. Not just physical health and safety, but of psychological safety as well. And that's where businesses have to actually spend a really good amount of time creating strategies in terms of risk management at those levels. And usually the real risk management happens in what we call a risk mindfulness, which is actually being aware of what could go wrong and what is going wrong for that matter, and having a really solid strategic plan in place to minimize those risks. And that's the best contributor to your bottom line, the bottom line of any business, which actually managing those risks at that level of minimization.
So one of the big things that I see in the world of health and safety, and I'm not a health and safety practitioner, but it comes down to awareness and being mindful of your environment to notice the smallest of things that may not be a hazard today, but it could there is a risk that it could be a hazard tomorrow. So therefore, how can you describe the ability of using mindfulness in permitting people in the place of work to be conscious and aware and thinking of their environment and the impact that their environment has upon other people?
Yeah, so that starts with, as you said, awareness, which is and which obviously any business has to actually put in place in their strategic plan, which is actually actually listing very, very clearly what are the current risks, and then obviously what they can forecast in terms of those risks, but also putting in place a plan for promoting more resilience, in the staff, in the workers, in the workplace, because resilience is at the face of interpersonal or task-related stress triggers as well, and it's also vital part of optimal work functioning. So that's something that is required in every part of any business, not just for the business owner, but the workers in the business, because that's what contributes to improvement in engagement and enjoyment levels at the workplace, and that's what drives the bottom line for any business. So essentially, what I'm trying to come to is it's not something that you create a document on safety and being mindful about things, and then have this as a tick box. It's actually following that document as your guiding document throughout whatever actions you're taking in your business, and not just putting that document in place once for all. It's actually continuing to refine that document, and we've seen that happen in the last 12 months as a result of how we've had to respond to this new crisis across the world called COVID, where we had to completely change a lot of our ways of working.
Yeah, Virin, it's coming to that point where we're going to we need to close off, but time is so critical to people, and it's the necessity to invest in that time to understand what is going on in their own mind, but what is going on in their own world. And people have a microwave effect. They want instant changes. Put the dish in the microwave, press the button, 5 minutes later, out comes this food. And real life is not like that. We have to work on it, So if somebody was to engage with you, what period of time do they need to invest in with you, and also in their own private time, to start to see the results that will help them break through their own limiting beliefs and, go ahead at speed?
Your time investment is very key and crucial and critical in any transformation you're looking for, whether it's personal life or business life. And everyone's situation is different. So there's no clear-cut answer to what you just asked me. That this is, you got to work with in 3 months. You'll just see 50% increase in your business, something like that, because everyone's situation is different. Everyone comes with a set of challenges that's very unique to them. So yeah, in general, if you talk about it, if someone's really invested, I'm not just talking about financial investment, they invested in terms of how they invest their time and energy into achieving a transformation, they can start to see changes happen instantly within days, right? And essentially every little change, I'm talking about little changes here, I'm not talking about massive changes. So every little change is part of that chain that leads to the big change thereafter. And change is something that I think that's something we need to actually latch on to. We need to be ready for change. We need to ready to change at the same time. And it comes down to the choices that we're making every single day, because whatever choices we make today become our result tomorrow. So first we make our choices, and then our choices make us. And that's what we want to really kind of emphasize it more, that understanding that that change is key, commitment is key, and making the right choices is key in terms of that goal achievement. So all in all, there's no sort of silver bullet, a magical pill for any success achievement. It's all about actually working yourself into it, and being patient through it, being kind towards yourself around it. That's what mindfulness teaches us.
And, I can sort of understand why you took up and became interested in interior design, because it's, from my perspective, I suppose interior design permits you to put in balance and peace and harmony into a room, but from a practical, real perspective. So can we actually put somebody in a peaceful zone where they find peace and harmony? Can we do that, and create our world to put us in that place of mindfulness? Would that be correct?
Definitely, John. That's one big part of it. And the other aspect, obviously, is actually the interior design of buildings. We're talking about by what I'm currently obviously doing and focusing on is interior design of our mindset, and they are kind of linked. So all our environment impacts on how we feel, and the other way around. So yeah, you've described it very well. That was one of the key drivers that pushed me towards studying design.
Cool. Virin, it's been an absolute pleasure in talking to you and finding about how quantum physics is so valuable to understanding mindfulness and also understanding our own peace and harmony within our own mind. So if people wanted to contact you, one, can they contact you? And two, how do they contact you? And what is the process for engaging you?
Yeah, I have my website, viringomber.com, and it's got all the information in terms of how, when people can contact me, and why they should contact me, and what they can expect, working with me. And I'm very friendly and very approachable. So so essentially, as you said earlier in my profile, I do work with driven individuals, work with entrepreneurs and professionals mainly, to help them disentangle some of their mindset challenges around success in their business or their personal life, mainly using mindfulness. But obviously, it's a really good mix of strategies that I help them with.
And, for the people that are watching and listening, I would say to them that you're a person who puts people at ease very, very quickly. You're not judgmental. You're very unassuming, and you have great clarity in uncovering people's fundamental issues, but you let them discover it rather than you saying that's your problem, because I guess you guide them and you take them on a journey so that they can appreciate what they have found with you.
That's right, and that's all about it. It's not my job is not to tell them what's wrong, and or even give them solutions, because they have the solutions with them. I'm, as I said earlier, I'm a vehicle. I'm a facilitator of change, and I just empower them to change themselves. So they work with me, and then after that they don't need me anymore because they can drive themselves.
Virin, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope we can have another conversation later, maybe on another subject of mindfulness. And thank you very, very much for all your time and your consciousness.
Thank you, John, for inviting me to your wonderful podcast, Right Track, and you're doing some great things yourself. So I really appreciate our association, really appreciate your energy that you're putting into it, and helping the world to change podcast by podcast. So thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we'll see you later.
Okay.
Bye.